So women have been in the workforce for about 40 years in large numbers, ever since the 80s. I went back and did the calculations, and the average percent of female CEOs at S&P 500 is 5. So some years we go up to 6.4 or 6.2. Then the next year we drop down to 5.8. Then we're 4.7. Then we shoot back up to around 5.2 again. So again, the average is 5% though for 40 years. So we really have been unable to crack that 5% number. Now, for those of you who are quick at math, if you're doing the numbers here, 6.4% of 500 equals 32. So there's 32 women who have been able to reach the highest office in our in corporations. So this is just a partial list. You may have heard some of these names. Mary Barra at GM, Gail Boudreau at Anthem, Adena Friedman at NASDAQ, Julie Sweet at Accenture, or Kathy Warden at Northrop Grumman. So the image on the left here, on my left, perhaps on your left side of the screen, if you remember your Greek mythology from high school or college, that figure is Sisyphus. So Sisyphus was punished by the Greek gods by having to push a boulder up a mountain only to get it near the top, and it rolls all the way back down for eternity. So tasks that are considered both laborious and futile are referred to as Sisyphean. So when it comes to gender parity, there are days when I feel encouraged. I hear about women being promoted into leadership roles. I hear about companies launching a new diversity and inclusion initiative, and I feel encouraged. And then I look at the numbers and I see that we haven't moved the needle significantly. And it feels like we have to start all over again, and that boulder rolls right back down that mountain. So as a gender and leadership researcher myself, I had to really think seriously about this and say, is trying to reach gender parity futile? Is it futile? Can we actually make a difference that impacts industry? Can we change the face of leadership? Can we change how we envision a leader? I'm happy to say the answer is yes, we can. We may be doing it one woman at a time, but every woman who advances in her career is a step up that mountain. Now, on the other side of the coin, I also interviewed women who are naturally stronger in those male-specific EQ attributes. And what they shared with me is they were told to tone down their assertiveness, be more social, and be a team player. So they experienced challenges because people expected an empathetic woman. But these women were not naturally empathetic. It was not their strength. Their strength actually was being confident and assertive and decisive. But they were also met with challenges. Now, I can relate to this. I was raised to be strong, independent, and competitive. To me, that was the norm. I also was raised in a male-dominated industry. So I'm a female drummer. And that's me on the drums at 6 months old. That's my sister also in the picture. But all my life, I've heard things like, she's just a girl, she won't be able to play very well. I heard she's gonna play too soft. And I also heard she won't be able to get along with her male bandmates. Now, none of those things ended up being true, but these were people's perceptions of me as a female drummer. These were people's biases of me as a female drummer. So I bring up these examples to illustrate the point that for women, it's often difficult to succeed as a leader because of these opposing expectations. Whether you're stronger in the female-specific EQ attributes or even the male-specific EQ attributes, women often experience opposing expectations. Another type of barrier is what's called structural barriers. So this includes lack of access to informal networks, and of course, role models, mentors, and sponsors are in this category. These are all different types of barriers for women. So lack of access to informal networks, that includes the old boys network, which is still alive and well. It includes sporting events, going to drinks and dinner after work, taking clients out for golf, fantasy football leagues, those types of networks. So If women are not invited or don't know about these networks, or even people of color, if they're not invited or don't know, they're losing out on important relationship building opportunities that could help their career. So think about the setting for a minute. So let's just say a sporting event, or let's say you're taking a client out to play golf. You're in a relaxed setting, you let your hair down, you share personal information about yourself, you get caught up on the latest company intel and industry intel. And the most important thing is you build quality relationships. Now, informal networks, they're never on the org chart, right? But it's an important part of how work gets done. So if we have certain groups in our workplaces not participating in these networks, it does impact not only the workplace, but an individual's career. Role models, we still need more female role models. Female mentors, is actually good to have a mix of male and female to get different perspectives. And then male sponsors. And this audience, I'm sure, is very well versed in these areas, so I'll just touch on it quickly. But it's important for women to have male sponsors in addition to female. And the reason for that is twofold. First of all, most decision-making positions of power are still held by men in virtually every industry across the globe. So the chances of having a male advocate, a leader advocate for you, the chances are that's going to be a male leader. The second reason it's important is for optics. It often carries credibility if a female has a male who's advocating for them behind closed doors. So that's something to keep in mind as you're developing your career. And then the fourth category is lifestyle choices. So this includes work-life balance, family choices, and breadwinner caregiver roles. So let me touch on the last one for a moment. So in today's households, most households have dual income. So both parents are working, or they're single parent households. So if a woman is the primary breadwinner of her household, she's usually the primary caregiver as well. And she usually has the lion's share of the household duties, the cooking, the cleaning, the laundry, doing the dishes. If a man is the primary breadwinner of his household, he's rarely the primary caregiver. This is a key distinction even among our youngest generations. Even among millennials, is what the data shows, is that millennial men are better than older generations at the household duties, but the lion's share of the caregiving still falls to women. Now, this is a really important issue right now. It's always important, but it's magnified right now because of COVID. So the latest McKinsey Women in the Workplace study that just came out last month showed that 1 in 4 women are considering downshifting their careers or leaving the workforce altogether because of this issue. So most of the caregiving duties, in addition to trying to manage your career full-time, is falling on mothers. And so that's what's driving that statistic of that 1 in 4. So this equates to millions of women that companies can potentially lose that talent and also lose future female leaders. So it's a huge talent drain on our companies, and it could significantly impact women in the workforce. I want to leave you with this. How do we achieve gender parity, and how do we close or help close that leadership gender gap that I talked about at the beginning of the presentation? This is how we do it. It starts with talking. Talking can transform minds. That transforms behaviors. Transforming behaviors can transform organizations. That can transform the world. This is how we get there.